a story I got to tell about crooked politicians that we know so well. I told y'all once, I told y'all twice, I'ma keep telling y'all to the end of the night. Cause the whole world's ready to exhale, the whole world's ready to rebel. Tell your homies on the block, hit the streets from Tunisia to Brazil, cause the rich just robbed us still.
I wonder how breaking started in Colorado. Why, boy? How did you start dancing?
Jackson, I'm taking a shit.
I started breaking about 11 years ago. I believe it was either the first or second Rockers Rumble at CU, and I saw Epi and Chris were battling with Fate.
Fate Rocks. 2003, I started teaching programs for a guy named Jeff Campbell. It taught me the art of teaching. I went through public school, through public schools, through public schools, through public schools. This is how I met people. And then I switched over to my company, which is Colorado Hip Hop Elements at that time. And I started teaching more programs. That program was at East High School.
I go to East High School, and then I linked up with Fate, and that's when I really started training, getting down with actual b-boys.
GWT, I think, is probably one of the most dominant crew that ever come out of Denver.
And they recruited me. Scream pretty much recruited me and was like, yo, you want to be down with GWT? I was like, yeah, man.
GWT had a huge influence on everybody out here because we pretty much dominated for a while in the early 90s. As soon as we blew up, there was really no stopping us.
Those combos that they're doing is way ahead of its time. GWT had such a good understanding of battle control. They were such experienced battlers. They were battle heads, you know?
We wanted to be your worst nightmare. We wanted you to literally have nightmares about us. When I would walk into a jam, I would take people's souls.
I would give props to the LOF crew too. They were a big influence.
Steve Freak, Lord Fanatic, Rocksteady crew, everybody. We want to give a big fat shout out to my original crew, Lords of Finesse and Queens of Finesse. Denver, happy anniversary! Can't wait to get there and rock with you guys.
LOF, basically Lords of Finesse, they were one of the crews that were GWT's founders' teachers.
LOF originally was loaf. LOF stood for loaf. It stood for loaf because we were slices of bread, right? And if you try to get with us, we're gonna burn you like toast, right? That was the concept of Lords of Finesse. Loaf. The original concept is loaf. Anybody can't tell you no fucking different.
So we go breaking at different events, and we saw this little dude breaking. He's real cool and real hardcore. And this guy's name was Scream.
We seen Scream dancing at Rock Island. And that was before he screamed, we knew his little Clay.
Remember Rock Island?
We started seeing at Rock Island. Us and LOF started to see at Rock Island before anybody.
That was hard.
They were trying to recruit me into their crew, and
he was more like, I already have my crew.
We already got our own crew, we already got our own name. This is us, and so I stood with the GWT crew. One thing I guess that was pretty dope when we first started blowing up was dancing with the Smurfs. The Asian kids, them kids were...
From Thornton or Westminster area, they were there also.
The Smurfs were our first rival, if you will.
Their power moves were unbelievable.
Our scenario gets left out all the time, bro, in that history. Our scenario gives birth to DJ Stretch, gives birth to Focus. Focus moves, goes to the Springs. There's all that lineage. Then they got the Kevin O'Keefe cat, right? Over there that's sparked this Boulder movement. Those were the main crews in the 90s.
One day, and it was probably around 2 in the afternoon. Back then, I was probably sleeping at that time. So I get this call, and later on, Fiends is like, yo, you're sleeping, sleeping, you get... But anyway, I was literally sleeping, because Rocksteady was here.
this crew, right, the Ghetto Originals crew, right, is a nasty ensemble. You got Wiggles, you got Legs, Quick, but it was a combination of a bunch of dudes from different crews. But these are like nasty of the nasty. You know what I mean?
It was what I known to be the first Broadway traveling hip hop show that represented a hip hop culture.
They were part of the Colorado Dance Festival, and they brought them in to do that show. And it happened at the Boulder Theater, or Boulder High School, or something like that. Boulder High School Theater. But
one of the members that was on the Get Originals tour was Quickstep. Quickstep landed up living here for about a year. He stood with Fiends, and during that time is when he mentored me, Fiends, and a lot of other of us.
So me, Quickstep, and I founded LOF together. I'm a co-founder.
What's up, y'all? My name is Quickstep, New York City. My crews are Fresh Kids, Rhythm Technicians, Get Original, Full Circle Soldiers. Last but not least, of course, crew here in Denver, Lords of Finesse. They really had a lot of questions. So it just started with one question, and that opened up to a whole book that was written on how the hip hop history was going to reemerge in Denver.
I know there was mad crews in the 80s.
So they were the pioneers of Colorado, the hip hop scene. And
my influence personally would be Dance is Unique.
All right, Dance is Unique, taking me back to the days. Daniel Flores and myself, we were at the movies and we seen Flashdance. We had never seen a b-boying or breaking before that. When Rocksteady Crew came on, we were like, whoa, what was that? So all we seen was that quick snap of Rocksteady Crew, and that was it. So we had to go back to the movies every day to see how did they do that? What were they doing? You know, what was that music? We loved the music. Jimmy Castor, that was just begun. That's how Dance is Unique just begun.
Because they had that New York vibe. They weren't really performers like in, you know, your shiny suits and all that. They were more raw b-boy.
B-boying was about peace and unity, love and having fun. Because at that time, gangs were really growing in Denver. They were really, really getting violent. And we were all being recruited. All the B-boys were being recruited.
And so that's when kind of like the West Coast came in and started the gangster rap. They were impacting the world on what was in, and it was very political. And so naturally, you connect with the gangster rappers, and you're like, that's kind of what I'm dealing with. So you're not really a b-boy, so you get caught up in hanging out with just your neighborhood crowds, which eventually turned into claiming different sides of town. So it's in Denver, it was north side, west side, east side, and south side.
I don't know if you guys know about Denver at that time, but it was mass segregated and separated. Brothers stood on the side of town, and the Mexicans stood on their side of town. We didn't go over there.
So in a sense, we were representing our neighborhoods in our b-boy crews, but instead of fighting and shooting and killing each other, we were battling.
We didn't want to be out there gang banging and, you know, fighting and shooting and killing people. We would rather dance and make people happy, so that's where we went with that.
every crew, I think all of us came from a gang mentality. So when we seen each other, it was like a West Side Story type of thing, where it was like, oh, we'd pull out our knives, whatever, But in our minds, we would be talking stuff, and we'd be wanting to battle, like rip each other's heads off. Like basically, we considered ourselves like warriors or like soldiers, where if you go onto a battlefield, you're not just gonna say hi to the other soldiers from across the thing. You're gonna try to do everything you can to rip their head off, to show them that you're the best, to get their respect.
I understand that hip hop is peace, love, and unity and having fun, you know. But there's one little aspect, and I hate to have this entitled aspect, you know, because it sounds really entitled, you know. But hip hop was also, it was hood raised.
Oh, gangster motherfuckers, bro. You know what I mean?
I didn't have the personality to like get in people's face and stuff, but I wanted to be able to like keep up, and my way of keeping up was like trying to get my skills on point so that, you know, when there was a battle, rather than like being at the front line of like the shit talking, I would be able to just like go out and like smoke food.
Today, the battle doesn't have the same meaning it meant back then because we were really representing our neighborhoods, and it was really a war. It was really a battle.
There's no connection in battles right now that I feel.
People do sets. They don't try to blow up the other person.
Where like, let's say, this is what's so common back then was, homeboy had an air chair, and then out of nowhere, I was like, oh shit, you have an air chair, rock it out. Boom, at that moment, he answered back with air chair, you know? Or answered back with something semi-relevant to it.
That's the difference.
When I go to some of these events, I'm expecting or wanting to see that same passion go into the battle. It doesn't mean that you have to hate each other, but it does mean that when you're pushing each other to that next level.
I'm at an unfamiliar point of this scene where I don't feel as touched by it.
Sometimes I see a battle and I'm like, they're practicing. That's what we would do at practice.
Like when we were coming up, we were raised from the gang mentality, so we were raised on tough love.
You know, I'm not saying talk shit the whole time for irrelevantly, you know. I would say, you know, you can talk shit if you have a reason, you know. And it was just that moment, it was like, that's perfect shit talking time.
At the end of the day, it was always mad love.
I don't think that the kids are whack. I just think that they're lacking the essence of what it is.
The essence of it was made and structured so well, you know, was because it was an inner city raised culture.
I would like to help the scene maintain that raw essence of what hip hop is, along with being open to everything else that's happening, like all styles.
The scene today, it's more based on community and it's more based on the love.
I think the scene's pretty awesome, man. I think if everybody just keeps pushing and, you know, it's only gonna get bigger.
I'm really proud of the scene. I want to say every single B-boy and B-girl, I'm proud. I really am. I'm very, very happy with it.
In general, I think we do a really good job of like staying positive. If you're at like an out-of-state jam and someone gets called out, like if they're from Colorado, like you're right there behind them.
They are inspiring more people than we did.
Hip hop in its evolution, it never runs out because it's constantly inspiring.
I would like it to be more raw, but I like the support still. That's the really conflicting part, you know?
But what happened after us with the levels of talent, that it just I mean, it's like incredible. So I applaud that, like, and it blesses me beyond. I almost want to be in tears over stuff like that because I'm like, man, it's still touching lives. It's still changing people's lives. It's still doing what it was meant to do.
That's the beauty about, for me, urban arts, is that you watch people grow into these beautiful beings. Hip hop can help heal the soul.
Shout out to Denver.
What up? We are Break Effects and we're from Denver, Colorado. 303, baby.
Stay humble.
You learn something, you go back out and teach it.
We do have a responsibility to be role models because your influence and your impact is going to go way further than you can possibly imagine. There's so many people in the future who depend on us, and they depend on us caring.
I came here in '93, it's 2017, and I'm so down to build with the past generation along with the new generation so we can all rock together.
I was trying to like go, but then just came in and like set the camera up, and I just like, I really have to go, so.
Done!
back on the bad times. And pretty soon you'll find you'll have to say,
One moment we're together
for all the world to see.
You turn around and it's gone forever.